It is wet, windy, and wild. And that's just in the studio. Here we go again. It is English Addict coming to you live from the birthplace of English, which just happens to be, well, you know where it is. It is England. Here we go again. We are back, everyone. Please bear in mind, please remember today, I'm going to mention this straight away, I've only had 3 hours sleep, and I think Mr. Steve has only had about 3 hours sleep because he was away last night partying and I was here feeling lonely, and neither of us got any sleep because of that. So he was there restless at his friend's house, some of his ex-work colleagues, all of them ladies. So he spent the night last night with lots of women, and I was here alone on my own, and neither of us got very much sleep. Anyway, we are here. English Addict is back with you. And yes, it is myself and also him over there. Hello, Mr. Steve.
Hello, Mr. Duncan. Hello, yes. We're going to stay awake just for you, all you lovely viewers from across the world. I was alone in a house with 4 other women, and they all felt very safe.
Yes.
Which we all know why.
But were you safe from them?
Well, this is the thing, you see.
Yes.
You know, we were 2 of them were sharing beds. I was on a blow-up bed, which was fine. But
is it one of those things that's made of rubber and you have to inflate it?
Yes. Somebody had a lot of puff, and it wasn't me.
But didn't you use a machine?
I don't know. They probably did. I didn't see. I arrived while all that had been set up. Yeah. So yeah,
the inflation had already taken place.
Yeah. So we didn't sleep very well because obviously both of us were sleeping apart.
All of us,
which is unusual for us. But
anyway, if it's 2 people, it's both. If it's more than 2, it's all of us. Both of us, all of us, if it's more than 2. Look at that, we're teaching English already.
Christina says, why didn't you join the party, Mr. Duncan? That is because Mr. Duncan was not invited.
It's true.
Because it is literally just, it's this, we're ex-work colleagues that used to work together.
Yes.
Sort of 15 years ago.
Well, it's
and we've all remained friends, and we meet up once a year.
That's it. It's a kind of thing that happens every year. And it's only you and your girlfriends from work
yes.
who you used to work with, but I'm not invited. But that's okay. It's okay. I am used to it. I mean, nobody ever invites me.
We just happen to be in the same team together. So they leave their husbands away for a weekend, and we all meet up somewhere, and we do it every year, and it was good fun.
It's also worth mentioning that they are crazy.
They're all crazy, but
yes.
We all are in sales, so we're all a bit lunaticy.
Anyway, here we are. We are here today, English Addict. For those who don't know what this is, and all I can say is why not? Why don't you know what this is? You should be very aware of it right now. English Addict, we talk about the English language, and today we are enjoying, I suppose I would call it autumn, even though today the weather is all over the place. We've had lots of wind and rain. It's all wet and damp. You know what it's like. Everything at the moment is rather atmospheric. So I thought it would be nice to show a little bit of autumn to start off today, because it is autumn and autumn has arrived. So here is something we did. In fact, this is from last year when we had a little walk, myself and also Mr. Steve. And then we are back with more details of everything that is coming up on this English Addict live stream. Whoa, as if we needed reminding that autumn has arrived. There it is, some beautiful autumn colours starting off today's live English, and I thought we would do something a little bit different. So I hope you don't mind that we are both feeling, I think it's fair to say that we are both feeling delicate. When you feel delicate, it means that you feel maybe more sensitive or maybe more fragile than you normally do. I didn't get much sleep last night, and you know what it's like. We've talked about this in the past. When you don't get enough sleep, Mr. Steve, strange things start to happen to you. You find that you can't concentrate very well on things, and maybe your brain just becomes very fuzzy or foggy. It's a very strange feeling. I feel today as if I've just been on a very long flight because I have been deprived. Deprived.
You'll be fine, Mr. Duncan. You'll be fine. Just liven up, get in the action, and let's pretend that that nobody knows about it and we had a good night's sleep. That's fine. Let's just get on with what we do.
Well, I'm just worried about falling asleep, you see. Just like the viewers.
Well, they will if you keep talking about it. Anyway, yes, autumn. Autumn is here, but it's come very late this year.
Yes, it's a weird one. Weird.
So, most of us in the sort of northern hemisphere will have an autumn where all the trees, the deciduous trees, lose their leaves.
So when we say deciduous, it means that those particular trees lose their leaves.
So really anything except the conifers. The conifer trees will lose their leaves because they want to protect themselves against the frost.
And they are classed
as dry weather.
They are classed as evergreen.
Evergreen, yes. The ones that keep their leaves are evergreens, mostly the conifers. And then, of course, the deciduous trees like the beech, anything with a leaf that falls off when it gets cold. But it's come very late this year. I mean, a lot of the trees have still got the leaves on, and we're, nearly halfway through, or we are halfway through November, which is very late. Sometimes the trees lose their leaves in sort of September, but it's November because it's been very mild. Climate change, Mr. Duncan.
Okay, Steve. We're just about 4 weeks away from the shortest day already. So just 4 weeks. It's normally around the 21st.
But it's been mild, and we haven't even had a single frost yet.
Weird.
Not a single frost, and we're into November. We can get frosts, September easily.
Yes.
But we're 2 months in. Winter officially is here, but it still feels like autumn because a lot of the trees still have the leaves on.
It's a weird one this year. Anyway, you can see the beautiful colours already. So behind us, that is a view out of the window. You can see it is windy. We had rain, and it's not too cold. It's around 13 Celsius today.
Well, Valentin has had snow.
Oh.
Valentin, which you're in Italy somewhere, I believe. I can't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you're up near a mountain somewhere. I don't know. But do let us know, because if you've had snow, then and you're in Italy, then that's quite interesting.
It is amazing It is amazing how many people get snow around the world, and you might not even realise that snow falls in those areas. I remember the time when we were in Turkey, and I suppose it was around, I'm trying to remember when it was. I think it was early in the year, around April. And I was amazed. In the distance, you could see the mountains, and they were all covered in snow. And yet we were enjoying quite nice temperatures.
It's mild today.
Very strange. So even around Turkey, you can get snow high up.
I mean, it's about 12 or 13 degrees out there today. It's actually
I just said, yes.
Quite warm. Yeah, it's quite weird. But anyway, I'm sure we will get some cold weather. We're bound to at some point. And
you look like you're shrinking today.
Do I? Well, I'm just sort of resting, Mr. Duncan. I'm resting.
You see?
I'm just doing what I normally do.
You see, Steve is tired.
I'm not tired, I'm lively. I came back, Mr. Duncan. I cleaned the car, which is a big effort because it was covered in mud.
Good.
Because my friends live down a very, very muddy track. And it would annoy me, that, never being able to have a clean car. But anyway, so I've been out there. I've put the meal on, Mr. Duncan, as well. I've been very busy.
Okay. Well, that's brought something to the live
If
stream.
it doesn't kill you, it strengthens you.
Is that the phrase, is it?
Yes. So all these sort of things, they test you, they're building up your resilience.
Okay.
Going without sleep, because soldiers have to go without sleep because they have to carry on because they've got to fight.
Well, they have no choice.
Well, that's it. But the part of their training is that they get them up at sort of 4 a.m, go for a tramp through the forest or something.
Tramp.
Part of their march them off in the early hours of the morning.
Oh, okay, Steve.
To get them acclimatised to lack of
I'm
sleep.
not in the mood for your
What?
exaggeration
just talking.
today.
I'm not exaggerating. That's what they do with soldiers, Mr. Duncan.
All I can hear is you shouting.
I'm not shouting. I'm just talking normally.
I did say that I'm sensitive today.
Well, yeah. Well,
Sorry, what?
nothing. Carry on.
Oh,
Carry
okay.
on.
I'm just feeling
Cutting
very...
me off as usual.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
Okay.
Have you ever walked on snow in the middle of summer? No, I haven't. Giovanni, no. When the temperature is 35 degrees. How is that possible? How can there be snow around when it's 35 degrees? I don't know. What's next, Mr. Duncan?
Oh, don't start saying that. Oh, please don't say what's next. Oh God, it sounds so amateurish. Here we go. Anyway, it's all right. I'm just very sensitive. My head is really banging away. I feel like I want to get in bed.
Here's a phrase for you then for autumn. The autumn of your life.
Yes, that's what I feel like I'm at.
The autumn of your life, which means that you're in the sort of the last sort of third quarter of your life.
Well, okay, that's
Probably.
cheerful.
Well, it's a phrase. The autumn of your years. The autumn of your years.
Death is approaching.
It sort of means you're sort of probably in your 60s. In your 60s, moving into your 70s. The autumn of your years.
Yes.
And it's a kind way of saying you're getting old.
Yes. Well, it's more about you are growing old graciously. You are in the autumn of your life. And maybe you are starting to relax and calm down.
A few things are dropping off.
And take things easier.
Maybe a few things are sort of withering and dropping off.
Yes.
And sagging like trees.
I haven't seen some of my things for years. They've disappeared completely.
How many degrees were there in last night's drinks? Well, I didn't have that much because I'm not a big drinker. Probably had about 2 beers and I did have a glass of wine as well. But I don't feel as though I overindulged. Overindulged, there's a good phrase, where you have more of something like alcohol, sweets, coffee, anything. If you have too much of something, it means you've overindulged, normally in something that is enjoyable.
Illegal drugs, maybe.
Yes.
A lot of famous film stars do that, you see. They take some and then they want more. And then they stop taking it for a while, and then they take the normal amount that they were taking, and then it kills them because their body has lost the tolerance. That happens a lot in show business. You think of any actor who has died of a drugs overdose, quite often they've normally stopped taking the drugs that they were addicted to, and then they start back on, but they take the dose that they were taking when they stopped, and normally it's too much for them. So that is common. You think of many actors. I think I can think of a couple. River Phoenix, for example, very young. How can you be young, good looking and wealthy and still want to ruin your life with drugs? I always find that quite amazing when you have everything. Everything is in front of you. Your whole life is ahead of you. And yet you still can't escape that thing, that demon inside. It's amazing. It always fascinates me, that. Mr. Steve.
Yes.
We have not said congratulations to who was first today. Yes, you know who was first.
Who?
We know who was first. Vitas, congratulations. I don't know why I'm a little bit touchy today because I just haven't had much sleep.
Yes, we noticed, Duncan, you said.
But no, I'm just explaining again. If I seem a little bit irritable today. I haven't had much sleep. You know what it's like. You can't think straight. You can't think clearly. You become irritable. So that's how I feel today. I feel very sensitive to things. So please bear with me. Thank you.
No, Pete, they won't bear with you. They want action. They want content. They want to be taught. There's no excuses. Just have to carry on, Mr. Duncan. If you were in a studio, on reading the news, you couldn't make any excuse. You just have to carry on and say nothing.
Well, if I was reading the news, I wouldn't have spent all night awake wondering where you were and thinking and missing Mr. Steve because he was off with his girls.
Yes, Giovanni. Yes. So yes, I think about this snow. Yeah, it can be hot up in the mountains, so the snow probably is on the ground, but it can be very hot, the air, but the snow is so thick it hasn't all melted. I think I know what you mean now about walking up in the mountain when it's 30 degrees and there's still snow around because it just hasn't. It's a hot day, but the snow's still there from the winter and it hasn't melted. I think that's what you mean. So I understand now.
And you can have the reverse, where it is hot near the ground and cold high up. As I found in Turkey, it was very strange. Can I just say hello to... Christina has mentioned, of course, recently, very sad, Matthew Perry from Friends, another victim of that self-destructive habit. And we all have them. I was doing it last night. I can let you in on a secret. I was eating lots of junk last night. I was missing Mr. Steve. So I had to console myself. I tried to make myself feel better.
And what did you console yourself with?
lots of junk food, chocolate, horrible things that you shouldn't eat a lot of, and I did. So even I do it, but only because I was missing Steve. But now he's back, and I'm okay, and I don't feel like eating junk while he's here.
I wonder you haven't seen the meal I've put on yet.
Well, that's not junk, is it?
I know, I'm joking. Yes, but I suppose alcohol's... I wonder what's worse, if you're feeling lonely and, you haven't got any friends to go and see or speak to, and you're feeling sorry for yourself, you're at home. Do you have lots of alcohol, or do you consume... lots of chocolate, cakes, biscuits, but I wonder which is worse for you. I wonder if the chocolates and the cakes are worse for you than the alcohol.
Or heroin.
Yes. I don't think, but anyway, I wonder which is worse for you. Would you be better off overindulging with alcohol or with cakes and sweets?
I would imagine that both is bad.
Oh, yes.
You can have too much of anything, really, can't you? But I like that. And I've admitted this in the past. I am a person who comfort eats. I think it does happen. So it's not a big deal, really, when you think about it. I think everyone does it. You like to eat something. It is very comforting. I don't know why.
It is. Olga says that the video quality is not very good today. Oh. Is it just Olga, or is it anybody else as well?
Oh, okay.
Please let us know.
Well, we've got it here playing on our devices, so it's okay.
Yeah, well, I'm just asking. Yeah, that's it. I was going to mention something. Oh, yes, Olga also says that Olga has started using her bread maker, Mr. Duncan. I usually make bread on a Sunday, but because I was back late, I haven't had time to make the bread today. So Olga wants a competition on the bread making. Olga says she's nearly using it every day. That's the trouble. Once you start... It's so addictive and so much better than shop-bought bread in a packet.
Talking of things that we can't stop doing, Mr. Steve almost every day, he makes bread and we eat all of it. So maybe that is another addiction. Bread, eating too much bread.
Christina says, yes, I once had a bad experience after drinking lots of alcohol at parties, and now that I can't do it now. Yes, well, I don't drink much because that probably be the same reason. Once you've had a bad experience, and it ruins your day the next day because you might have things to do, and you sort of feel bad, and then you've got to go to work on Monday, and is it really worth it? think as we get older, maybe it isn't. I don't know, but it's different for different people, isn't it?
Yes, we all have different tolerances. So your tolerance is the thing that you can actually take without any bad effects occurring. But, of course, if you eat more of something or take more of something, then your tolerance goes up. And that's what I was talking about earlier. So people who might stop doing something, then go back to it, you might suddenly find your tolerance has dropped. And it can be very dangerous.
Going back to bread, Mr. Duncan, you've always wanted to try sourdough bread, haven't you?
I have.
Well, I've never tried it, but somebody brought in our sort of group, our friends group that I met up with this yesterday, somebody bought a loaf of sour bread, a sour bread loaf, and I thought, I'm going to try this. I wasn't keen. It was very sort of tough and sort of full of holes. I didn't like it. I don't know what all the fuss is about. Everyone went mad for sour bread in the UK during lockdowns. Everyone was getting obsessed with it, making sourdough bread. But I've got to say, I don't think much to it.
Well, the secret of it and why people like it is because it's healthier. It's actually a healthy option. If you want to eat bread that is not so bad for you, sourdough bread is better because it ferments longer, so there is less of the horrible stuff that's still in there. So the less time you ferment the bread, the more unhealthy it is for you. Oh.
Well, I think what it is, you see, I don't put sugar in. You don't have to put sugar in with sourdough bread, but I don't put sugar in anyway, and it still comes out fine. So I think my bread is just as healthy and tastes much better.
Yes.
It was tough. It was like chewing an old bit of leather.
Yes.
I don't
and
know
of course, at our age, we have to be careful of our teeth because our teeth become all loose and they start falling out. So we have to be careful not to bite into anything too hard.
Florence is making bread with her hands without a bread maker. Well, good for you.
Well, aren't you something?
Well done, Florence. I'm only joking. I'm being sarcastic. But yeah, I used to like making it. It's quite therapeutic kneading the dough, isn't it? It's quite, you can take out your frustrations on it.
Bertrand Russell, he writes some great stuff. He said that drunkenness is a type of temporary suicide. And I think that's a very good way of putting it, actually. I think overindulging in anything, because I felt sick last night. I was eating all that stuff last night, Steve, and afterwards I felt sick. And I thought, why do I do it? And we all do this. We do something, we do it too much, and then it makes us bad. And then we ask ourselves, why did we do it? And then we go through the cycle again and again. I suppose there are many different types of addiction. I suppose gambling. In this country, we have a big problem at the moment in this country with gambling because it's much easier to gamble. You can use your mobile device, you can use your computer. There are lots of ways of gambling your money away. And so lots of people have become addicted to that.
It was they changed all the laws. I think was it Margaret Thatcher? I'm sure it was Margaret Thatcher.
It was later than that, much later. I think it was actually, I want to say it was the Conservatives. I think you'll find.
They relaxed all the laws on that. So you could only gamble if you went to a licensed place for like a horse, for gambling on the horses or somewhere. But now
a casino,
yes, or a betting office or something. But now, like in a lot of countries, but not all countries, some countries have still don't allow it, where you can gamble online on your phone or on the internet. But some countries have still banned this.
Amazingly, the United States has some of the toughest gambling and casino laws. Here, we are almost the opposite in this country. We're like Macau. I don't know if you know about Macau, Steve, but Macau is a small island near Hong Kong, and all of the relaxing of the gambling laws have taken place there. And that's where everyone goes. They all go there from China, and they all go to gamble at the weekend because you can.
Well, they relaxed the laws on gambling in this country because, of course, they get a cut. The government get a cut of all the revenues of these companies. So it was a good way of raising tax revenue, whereas at the same time destroying a lot of people's lives.
Yes, but a lot of things do. Yeah, I suppose you could say the same thing about everything. I suppose everything that brings something to other people is destructive in some way.
I don't agree with it, because it's taking advantage of people with addictive personalities and not giving them any protections, and it's probably destroyed thousands of lives.
I think we all have some addiction, and it is easy to become very addicted to one particular thing. Oh, by the way, did you see the Big Bang yesterday? Elon Musk launched his very big Starship.
Really?
I watched it live, and it was quite dramatic. It was very dramatic, in fact. It's the largest thing ever launched from the surface of the planet, ever.
And it went up, did it? It was all right.
It did go up. Went up with its big booster rocket, 33 engines.
Grief.
Now, normally when they used to launch the space shuttle, there were two rockets, two booster rockets that would go up when it took off. But this had 33 engines at the bottom. 33. The tail, the flame coming out the back, was 1,000 feet long. Huge. It is hard to appreciate the scale of this thing. However,
watch that.
However, unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. They had a slight problem, and I do like this phrase. I'm going to show you the phrase that they used yesterday, Steve, because I love this phrase. Apparently, they had what they call an RUD, a RUD, they call it. Rapid Unscheduled Disassembly.
Did it blow up?
It blew up.
Oh.
First of all, the booster rocket broke away, and that was supposed to come back down to Earth. But the size of these things, these are the largest things ever launched from the surface of the planet. So the booster separated and then exploded a few moments later in a massive, massive explosion. And then the actual Starship carried on, and then suddenly that vanished as well. It disappeared from the radar and everything. We didn't see that blow up.
There was nobody on board, I take it. It was unmanned.
Yes, these are very thorough tests.
Unmanned, as they say.
Because there was no one on board, not even a dog, not even a monkey, not even a chimpanzee, because that's what we used to do. Before we sent people up into space, we used to just send animals. We went through them all. There was a horse. They sent a horse up into space. The horse was the first one. Not many people know this. It didn't go very well because the horse just kept running around in the rocket, causing all sorts of chaos.
Kept saying, nay, I don't want to go up here.
I don't want to go.
He's joking.
And then they sent a flock of sheep up into space, and that was just chaos as well, because you can imagine.
Wasn't there a giraffe as well?
They did try to send a giraffe up, but it unfortunately it got a very stiff neck from getting into the capsule.
But once it was up in space, it must have been very, very easy. It didn't have to hold its big neck up anymore.
And then they realised they could send monkeys, because a chimpanzee is very close, in some cases, almost identical to human beings. So they sent monkeys up. And also, I think it was the Russians. Did the Russians, I want to say they sent, or the Soviets, before anyone corrects me, they sent a dog up into space.
They did, yeah.
Wasn't it Linko or Lengo?
Don't know.
His name. This poor little dog went up into space, and then I think it just went off, didn't it? Didn't it just go off?
Can't remember.
Forever and ever.
It's probably still up there, yes.
It's probably still up there somewhere.
Inaki says the pronunciation of schedule is always a mystery to me. So, yeah, there are two ways, aren't there, to pronounce that?
You will
depending on whether you're American or not.
That's it. Schedule. I think you'll find schedule is more commonly used, even here. But in British English, we often say schedule. So it's pronounced like shoe, schedule. But in American English, you might find schedule, schedule.
I've got a busy schedule today.
Yeah, whatever that was.
Oh, that's what I just said, yeah. Yeah, so you can say schedule. It's the SCH is sh, a sh sound.
Yes.
So, yeah, like SH, if you'd left out the C, it would just be schedule or schedule.
And the debate, of course, is that in the word school, we say school. So the pronunciation that is used in American English might actually be more precise, because we don't say stool, we say school. So schedule and schedule, but both of them are acceptable.
Yes. But yes, if you wanted to sound American, you would say schedule.
So yesterday, the big rocket went off, but of course, what we often refer to this as is trial and error. So yesterday's explosion of the big rocket was not actually a disaster, because they expected there would be some problems.
Testing. You've got to test these things, haven't you?
Yes, especially when you're dealing with human lives. And this is something that happened in the past. I mean, in the past, people have perished. They have died when they were testing rockets. They would send people up sometimes, and quite often they would come to a rather unfortunate.
Same when, if you're a tester aircraft, same thing happened when they're developing aircraft. Somebody's got to go up there and test it. But probably in the future, humans won't be going up there, because there'll be robots, AI and all that kind of stuff. They probably won't need to send humans up into space in the future at all.
Olga says schedule or schedule is a very confusing word. It is.
Hopefully not anymore.
Your plan, the plan that you have for the future, something that you have organised into a certain routine, is your schedule or schedule.
Yes. What is your schedule for today? Well, at 9 o'clock I've got a meeting with the partners. Then at 10 o'clock I'm going out to see a customer. That'll take me to lunchtime. Then it's my lunch, and then at 2 o'clock I've got an appointment with, etc. That's your schedule or schedule.
Schedule.
Yes. It doesn't matter which. As long as somebody can understand you, that's all that matters.
That is the important thing when it comes to learning English. When you pronounce words, when your pronunciation has become good enough for people to understand what you're saying, then you know that you are speaking English very well. If people keep looking at you in a confused way, what are you saying? I can't understand you. Then maybe you need to practice your English more. And that's it, really. It's very simple. It's very simple.
Yeah, I think as Mr. Duncan said, if you think of it like school, schedule, school, very similar. That would be an easy one to remember.
So now you know. But things don't always go right when you try to do new things. So that's what Elon, what a great, who named Elon? It's a great name, by the way.
Well, even the surname is bizarre.
Well, one of his kids is called X, like just the letter, just X.
Hence the change of Twitter to X then.
Yes, well, he's obsessed with it, you see. He'd already bought all of the references to the letter X on the internet in the past. For some reason, it's either something that he thinks is lucky, or maybe something that he likes to follow. But yes, that's the reason why.
Is there yes, Tomek, schedule, agenda. Would you use those as synonyms? You could do, maybe.
Yes, your agenda, your schedule, your roster, the thing you are doing in the future.
Roster. Yes, roster, not roaster. You wouldn't have an A in there. But yes, very similar. What's your agenda for today? What's your schedule for today? But an agenda could be more specific in that if you are, for example, going to lay out an agenda for a meeting, you would use the word agenda in that point. Say you've got 30 people coming to a meeting. What's the agenda for today? You would list what's going to happen during that meeting. You wouldn't call that a schedule. A schedule is more a personal thing, isn't it? Personal to you, what you're going to do. Whereas an agenda is more to do with, say you've got a meeting and you've got things at different times, and you've got a certain speaker at a certain time for 2 hours, then you might have breakout sessions, then you might have another speaker, then it might be lunch. So if it, So I think I hope I've explained that. An agenda is more. What's the agenda for today?
Yeah.
Is it when you're involving other people?
I think
a schedule is more personal. Would you say?
Not really, no.
But you wouldn't go to a meeting and say, well, what's the schedule for this meeting? You'd say, what's the agenda?
Well,
for this
maybe
meeting?
if it was going on during the whole day, and then you would have breaks. So a plan is just the list of things you are going to do. So the simplest way is just to say plan. What is the plan for this meeting? What is the plan for tomorrow? So anything that you have planned is, generally speaking, the schedule or the schedule, the thing you are going to follow in a certain order, normally related to activities.
But a meeting, certainly you would use the word agenda. What's the agenda for this meeting?
Anyway,
what are you going to do in this meeting?
I think we've definitely.
When you would use agenda.
Oh, I think we've definitely cleared that one up. Definitely.
Leica was the name of the dog, apparently.
I wasn't sure.
Leica.
Yes, Leica. The dog that went up into space.
What's the difference between Olga? I missed that one. Sofa and couch. Would you say they were the same thing?
No difference.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the sofa. I'm sitting on the couch.
The thing you might find sometimes with couch is sometimes the shape might be different.
It might be,
but generally speaking, sofa, couch, and also here we often say settee.
Settee, yeah.
Settee, which means just a thing that is in a certain position to sit on. So that's what my parents used to call the couch. We called it the settee or sofa.
I think a couch, I think you're right. I think it's a slightly different design of, so your normal sofa or your settee is the comfortable chair you sit in.
But generally in American English they will say couch.
Maybe it's American.
Whatever it is, they will say couch. But basically the same thing. If you sit on it and it's big and comfortable, it is a couch or sofa or settee, as we call it here.
Giovanni says there's a lot of debate about what accent you should have out there when you're learning English. Is that learning one of them which you like is a good thing? Yes. It doesn't matter which, as long as people can understand you, it doesn't matter. But it depends whether you want to sound American or if you want to sound British.
Yeah, or if you don't want to sound like anything. This is the oldest debate, by the way, to do with the English language and all English, all types of English, all places that English is used. English as a complete subject. The biggest thing that people often fight, become angry about, something that divides people. It is a huge subject. I'm not going to get too deeply into it, but accents and how you speak English is, I think, one of the biggest dividing things between students and also teachers as well. I have heard arguments between teachers online. I've seen people fighting online about which accent you should really have when you're speaking English. And to be honest, as I said earlier, if you can go into a shop and ask for a loaf of bread and the person can understand you, job done. That's it. You have achieved your goal.
In other words, Saturina uses the word memorandum, which is often shortened to memo. That's not the same as a schedule or a schedule. A memo or a memorandum is just some information you might send to somebody or a group of people. Just one bit of information. Or can you send a memo about tomorrow's meeting? You
Yeah.
could say, we've got a meeting tomorrow at 12 o'clock. That's the memo. It's just a short bit of information about something specific. It's not setting out it's not a series of events.
No. You might
so it's a bit
write.
different.
You might write a memo that will include a schedule.
Yes, for a meeting.
So that is a very different thing. So the activity is the writing of a memo or a note or a letter, a message. You are writing that thing down, or of course these days we type or send it on our phones. So you can send a schedule in the form of a memo.
You'd
So
have
that-
a little note. Yeah.
So they are
yeah.
completely different things, basically.
Is it a problem if I do a mixture of British and American English? No,
Doesn't matter.
Charlotte, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Calm down, cool down. You don't have to worry about accents or how you sound. There will always be people out there who will try to cause trouble and create debate about which or what is the best way to speak English. As long as the person can understand you, you are doing the job. You have achieved your goal.
But it depends on, I mean, if you were going to go and work in America, you'd probably want to get an American accent. If you
Oh,
were
I
going
see.
to work.
So
I'm
if-
just saying, no,
So if I wanted to go and work in the United States, I would have to speak with an American accent.
well, you wouldn't know because you're British, so they'd expect you to have a British accent. But I'm just, it doesn't matter what your accent is, but
No.
you might want to choose one depending on what you like the sound of.
But-
Chances are you would end up with one or the other because
Yes.
you would be learning off a specific person or
Yeah.
group of people.
Okay. But accents can actually be the accent that you already speak with your native language. So that's it. It's a terrible... I don't want to get into this subject because it is one that you just dig and dig the hole and eventually we all fall into it and we are stuck. So it's a bit like... I always think accents is a bit like religion. Once you start talking about it, everyone has their own idea and opinion. So accents is if the other person can understand you, job done. That's it.
Saturino says couch potato. Yes, that's a good phrase. Somebody who spends a lot of time sitting in front of the television, probably eating junk food, is a couch potato.
Yes.
Spends too much time sitting in front of the television or, yeah, that's specific really, or playing games or something. But I would say in front of the television would be the what you would use that for.
Just a lazy person. A
Yeah.
lazy person. A slob. That's what I was doing last night. I was just watching all sorts of rubbish on television last night, and I was just eating and stuffing my face full of junk. And why? Because of him. It's his fault.
It's not my fault if you haven't got any self-control, Mr. Duncan.
No, I needed that. I needed that hit. Just like Mr. Steve's chili con carne later.
Well, I can smell it cooking now.
I
I've
know
put
it.
it on high.
It's becoming very distracting, by the way, because all I can smell is Mr. Steve's gorgeous chili.
I'm not even hungry, Mr. Duncan, because I had far too much to eat yesterday. But there we go. Never mind.
Not to worry. Worse things happen at sea. That's what we say. We're only here for an hour, by the way, so we are approaching the end of today's live stream. I did have something planned, but it's something I can actually talk about on Wednesday. So I am, of course, back on Wednesday with another live stream as we head towards December. Next week, by the way, next Friday, it's Black Friday. Are you planning to buy something? Maybe something in the sales, maybe something that might be on special offer. So it is Black Friday next week. Black Friday is a very interesting thing. It's a tradition that goes back a long time. And I think it actually came about in the United States when they wanted to correct their loss. If their profits were down, they would try to bring the profits back in the last month or the last couple of months of the year. So they would often encourage people to rush out and buy things. And then to make it more attractive, they would reduce many of the prices. So we used to have a similar thing, not exactly the same as Black Friday, but we used to have the New Year's Day sales. And it was like a huge thing. People would queue outside department stores. But now, of course, because the shops are open every day, we don't have that now. But of course, on the internet, we have Black Friday. Do you have anything planned for Black Friday?
No. If I need something, then I will just buy it. And then I will, at the time that I want that particular thing, I will search online to find the best price. Because I think it's all a bit of a con, Black Friday. I mean, Black Friday hasn't been in the UK. We haven't had it that long here. Maybe, I don't know, fast 5 or 10, not even 10 years.
It started about 15 years ago, believe it or not.
Long ago?
Yes, it did. It started around 2006, 2007. It became a thing. And then I remember when I was back here from China, it was already started. It was already underway. So every year they would have sales in the shops, Black Friday. But of course now most people have moved onto the internet. So now it's taken over the internet in a very big way. And you can get your cheap electronic devices on the following Monday. They call it Cyber Monday. So
Christina says it's dangerous because the temptation is there to buy things. But of course, what they often do is that they you think you're getting a bargain, but they've actually discovered what a lot of companies do in the lead up to these sales, like the January sales in the UK or Black Fridays. They actually increase the prices in the few days or weeks leading up to Black Friday, and then they give you the discount, and it's only just going down to where it was before. You might get the odd really good bargain. I'm sure they are out there, but probably you would find that if you went on at any time of the year for that particular thing that you wanted to buy, you would be able to find it probably at that price from somebody. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit exciting if you want to get into that type of thing.
It is a little bit misleading. That's all I'm saying. But I'm not going to be tempted. I think I will resist as long as I possibly can. Oh, hello, Rhubarb. Rhubarb wants to talk about politics. Well, I suppose there is a lot of political stuff going on in the world at the moment. Most of it we're not going to talk about.
Go on.
But this is here in the UK.
Yes.
So last week there were many changes to our government, the people who were sitting in government, and there were some changes. One person got sacked. They were kicked out. They were told to go away, and others were replaced.
Suella.
And what a strange thing that we had someone from the past, a name from the past, David Cameron, the guy who is, of course, responsible for Brexit. And he's back. He's not even an MP. So he's now going to be, I think it's Lord Cameron of Chipping Norton is now his new title.
Which is one of the poshest places in the UK.
That's where he lives as well.
I'm not surprised. Chipping Norton is one of the poshest places in the UK.
Yes.
In the country. You can't live there unless you're a millionaire.
So anyway, David Cameron is back. Some people are happy, some people aren't. But it's interesting how a name that has faded away somewhat has suddenly come back. And now, of course, all I'm thinking about now is who else they're going to bring back as everything keeps going wrong for them. Maybe we will have Theresa May. Maybe John Major will come back in his wheelchair and his walking sticks. maybe who else? I'm trying to think of prime ministers who are still alive. I think John Major is the oldest one, isn't he? Now.
Yes, of course, as Mr. Duncan said, Cameron was responsible for allowing the vote for Brexit, which he had to do in order to become Prime Minister.
It was a bribe.
Yes, he had to do it because otherwise they wouldn't have ever let him be Prime Minister or leader of his party.
That's it.
So,
well, he won an election based on that.
That's it, and conned us all. And then, of course, he as soon as he lost, he just peed off, resigned.
Well, he left because he wasn't a supporter of it.
Well, that's what I mean. He didn't stay to try and fix it. He left.
He was against leaving anyway.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. But he caused the problems, and then he left.
Yeah.
Afterwards,
yes.
Anyway, and now he's come back.
Anyway,
but this is all about. If you want to know, rhubarb, what's going on, this is all about the Conservative Party.
Steve.
All right, I'll just finish. The Conservative Party are trying desperately to survive because they know they're going to lose the next election, and they're trying anything to try and stay relevant and. But
okay.
But anyway.
Anyway, I was just talking about the detail of someone from the past re-emerging again.
Oh, yeah.
It's very interesting that how some people do come back. They vanish for a long time and then they suddenly reappear. Maybe one day I will reappear in the YouTube algorithms. maybe once again YouTube will decide that they love me again and they want to feature me on this.
Almira says maybe Tony Blair will come back. But behind the scenes, he's pulling levers in the Labour Party.
Yes, he's still there. Actually, he is placed in the Labour Party as an advisor. He's a special advisor. So he's there. He's actually in place. But I don't think he'll be doing anything else. Anyway, it's very interesting. That's all the politics we're talking about because there are many other things we could mention, but we're not going to. If you want to find out all the other stuff, you can watch any TV channel, any news outlet, or look at any website for all of that. That's all I can say. Anyway, we're going now. It's time to say...
Short and sweet, as they say.
We've been here for an hour.
Yes.
I think that's good. I think you've done very well today getting an hour out of me because I woke up this morning...
We're up to 9. We're coming up, Mr. Duncan. Now we're leaving. There's more people joining.
Okay.
Never mind.
What
You'll be back on Wednesday, won't you?
Yes. Well, I was saying something actually, Steve. Well, you're lucky to get an hour from me today because I woke up this morning and I felt dreadful.
Yeah, we know. You said that.
Oh no, well, I'm just saying it again because people have joined since then. Okay, Steve. There's a very strange dynamic going on today. So I think I did well. Please, if you want to give me some points at the end, maybe 10 out of 10 or maybe 8 out of 10. And don't forget also, I haven't even mentioned this. Can you please give me a lovely like? Give me a like to show you care. Please like this and then maybe I will smile later on to myself. That's it then. We're off. We are
Brad's
off.
Just appeared, but if you can watch this from the beginning, Mr. Duncan will put it on.
I will be going to bed. I'm going to bed in a bit. I'm going to finish my sleep that I didn't get last night. now that Steve has returned to my bosom. I hope you've enjoyed this autumn theme today. I have to say I do like this time of year. I think of all the seasons that we have, I think that autumn is one of my favourites because it just makes you feel good when you're walking around. We were walking yesterday, weren't we? We had it was just so pleasant with all of the colours and the feeling as well. So if you are going out somewhere today, I hope you have a nice time wherever it is. Have fun and enjoy yourself. I am back on Wednesday. I will say that again because sometimes it is missed. I will be back on Wednesday from 2 p.m. UK time. Steve will be here as well on Sunday, next Sunday, as we come towards the end of November. And we all know what that means. December will be arriving. And I think some people, especially children and adults who are rather childlike. We'll be getting excited. I think you know what I'm on about, Steve.
Oh, don't mention that, Mr. Duncan.
Don't mention it yet. It's too early. It's too early for it. See you soon. Take care. And thank you very much for joining me today. I am now going to take 40 winks.
Maybe 80.
Maybe 100. See you soon. And of course, until the next time we meet, you can watch this again, by the way. The next time we meet here will be Wednesday, 2 p.m. UK time. And of course, are you ready, Mr. Steve?
I'm ready.
You did it different last week.
Lee.
You were very... No, you can say different. You did it different. It was a different approach to the end of the live stream last week. I was very impressed. I
don't
was.
remember.
Oh, I see. Well, last week I said part of it and then you said part of it. You know what's coming next. Ta-ta for now.
Bye. Bye.